Hello. This is my review on I kind of forgot, okay? Why I started this video, what I was going to make. And I just remembered it now, what I was going to review. X-Men First Class from 2011. This is what I think on this movie. It's not as good as X-Men The Last Stand, and it's not as good as X-Men 2 United. And it's not as good as X-Men 1. This movie from 2011, X-Men movie, I think. But I did not listen, I did enjoy it, though. It's just not as good as the first three X-Men movies before this, that came before. So, I give X-Men First Class a 9 out of 10 score of a movie. So I do consider this movie a classic in my eye, but it's not as good as the first three X-Men movies. The first three X-Men movies were starring Hugh Jackman in the original cast. Those stories were better. I thought. That's what I thought. I think those stories were better. All three of those X-Men stories were better paced and less confusing on what's going on. X-Men First Class, as much as I love it, after a certain point, once the X-Men members all get together and recruit each X-Men members, that's when the movie starts to, well, get worse with the pace. Outside of Magneto, Professor Xavier, and Mystique, who are the main three characters of this story in the first X-Men movies, that takes place in this timeline with different casts. So X-Men First Class has a different cast. First one has a different cast of that play. Some play the same characters that play new characters. Some play the characters you're familiar with, but younger versions of them. Like, for example, Professor X, Mystique, and Charles Xavier are younger versions of themselves and played by different actors. Or cast. So, So outside of those three, the rest of the X-Men members are kind of a waste of screen time characters. Even though they're likable and all, but they're played by talented cast, and all of the cast gives their talent. I can tell but more or less it kind of rushes killing some off out of nowhere and having half of the team turn evil out of nowhere, where they have only a small handful of X-Men members for the first Foundation members of the X-Men team mission that they're going to go on. That's a suicide mission now, because they're short on team members in the third act before the mission even starts, which is their first X-Men mission as a team. When they took on when they get their suits all ready, they got the suits all ready. This time the suits are yellow jumpsuits. That's the Bryan Singer movie said. Basically, that what the Bryan Singer movie poked fun of in the first X-Men movie. Now that they're a yellow jumpsuit. The reason why I bring this up, because this gets complicated for some people. Well, not for me. I find this easy. It makes sense to me. I think, once we get to, Days of Future Past, it's revealed that the new cast and the old cast of X-Men are the same characters, just from different timelines. And X-Men First Class is not a reboot, but a prequel to the Bryan Singer's X-Men movie. The first one. And, so I forget what I was going to say. I think I was going to say, so that's a little confusing that the X-Men have more of a, that's a little so it's a little confusing, because the first Bryan Singer X-Men we kind of poked fun of the X-Men costumes. Now this one's kind of embracing the costumes a little bit. Concept of them wearing the team wearing costumes, but so the only problem is I think the costumes look like shit. Like, I think the costumes on, like, not just the X-Men team X-Men, but final Magneto costume looks like shit. It looks like something that came out from Walmart. But that's the same problem with the X-Men. All the costumes in this movies that worn by the good guy, the villains, and the heroes, they all look like Walmart versions. They look cheap, like cheap costumes. They look cheap, like the CGI crap, CGI effect on Beast. They look cheap, like the CGI effect on Beast. Beast looks, the CGI in this movie looks terrible compared to the past ones, and the CGI effect on Beast looks like a CGI effect. a crappy CGI effect. A lot of the CGI in this movie and green screen and costumes and all the visuals look dated as balls. But what this has going for is a story and cast of characters that feel like they were wasted, more or less. These talented cast of characters that are still likable somehow. In this rush plot of a film, X-Men First Class, that's probably the worst production that I've ever seen on a movie for X-Men movie since X-Men Origins Wolverine. I personally thought the X-Men Wolverine visuals with the metal claws look more convincing than the visuals in the X-Men First Class movie. All of them visuals in this movie. I personally think the crappy claws, the crappy metal claws, whatever they used to make the crappy metal claws in X-Men Origins Wolverine movie, and all the effects in X-Men Wolverine Origins movie were better visual effects visually to make guys in full my eye to making they came closer to full my eye thinking that was a good effect than this movie X-Men First Class did came close with this visual effects, because oh my god, the visual effects sucked. Story was rushed. The ending ends on a note where the ending ends on like Magneto and Professor X separating and going to separating, they're going their own ways and basically going their own ways, and Magneto becoming a full-on villain, and Mystique going with Magneto because script says so. This version of Mystique, played by a different person, different cast characters, and know the same Mystique, but we don't know that until later in life, once Days of Future Past comes out. But I'm going to talk about that a different time. And that's why I give X-Men First Class a 9 out of 10. I love this movie and all, but it has its problems. I still recommend it though. X-Men First Class from 2011 gets a thumbs up in my opinion. I recommend that movie, and I give that a 9 out of 10. It has its problems, but it's still a pretty good movie. It's just not as good as the first three X-Men movies, the first three X-Men movies in the original X-Men trilogy, okay? By Fox. That Fox gave us, before they gave us this reset, sort of, movie. It's sort of a reset. So that's the first, this is the first installment to the reset X-Men franchise of X-Men First Class. I give that a 9 out of 10 for having good, but having its problems. And that's why I give it a 9 out of 10 X-Men First Class. So, goodbye. Subscribe, hit the bell, then hit the subscribe button to get subscribed. Hit the thumbs up if you like this content. Check out my other content. Hit the thumbs up on my other content while you see my other content. And check out my other videos. We're going to do that sometime. I said that already, shit. And, I'm trying to think what I'm forgetting. Hang on. Oh yeah. share my content by sharing those things my like my channel. Okay. Bye bye.